Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let us continue. In Natsuhi's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulders.
姉貴に銀食器なんていらねえだろ。毒舌の姉貴が一舐めしたら、銀の皿だって真っ黒に曇っちまうぜ。
わしはその毒舌を毎日聞かされとるから、もう毒に耐性がついてしもたわ。エヴァもわし相手には構わんが、耐性のない相手にはちいと加減せんとな。
あらあら、ひどい。
Says you.
シャノンちゃんにお茶の知識を教えてあげただけじゃない。
Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in. But for the time being, the conversation inside the parlour could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kirie apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way.
気を落とさないで。姉さんは何も悪くない。
見てたのね。
Are they actually siblings?
そういうお役目だから。奥様もエヴァ様も地獄へ落ちる。
Madam. Yes, says the person that called themselves furniture.
でも、それより卑劣なのはあいつだ。
Which guy? Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlour, which even means, this guy, first the eldest son, or the house head. I've forgotten his name. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Golda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Golda would give up a flashy job, like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. Oh! He'd ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. Ugh. You might call this a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one.
いいの。ありがとう、カノン君。私、全然気にしていないし。
Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt.
ありがとう。カノン君だけでも分かってくれたんで、ちょっと心が楽になったかな。
姉さんは心にいろいろ溜め込みすぎる。たまには自分に優しくしてあげて。
うん。ありがとうね。
Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. Huh? A middle-aged man stood there. And he also has the symbol. Okay, so maybe it is General. It was Genji, the head servant.
そこで何をしている？シャノン、早く厨房に戻りなさい。
あ、はい。失礼いたしました。
Shannon humbly obeyed, and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words.
どうした？何かあったか？
Also interesting how all the servants have very different designs for the, I guess, not uniform.
シャノンは何も悪くないのに。あいつら。
やめてカノン君。失礼しました。すぐに仕事に戻ります。カノン君も自分の持ち場に戻って。お願い。
姉さんがそう言うなら。
何事もないならそうしなさい。
はい。失礼します。
From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa.
おいたわしや。シャノンさん、カノンさん。
Why is it up here now? What happened to the adventure mode text, I think, or ADV mode, whatever that is?
あの二人がいじめられる理由は何もないのです。
I don't think I pressed anything.
しかし、ゴーダさんに嫌われているのは紛れもない事実。ゴーダさんは後宮本家へいらっしゃられるまで、どこかの立派なホテルにお勤めだったそうです。そこで身につけられたというお仕事ぶりは、そりゃ大したものだとは思います。ただ、ゴーダさんはここでは最も年季の短い使用人。ご自身のそれまでの積み重ねによるプライドもあられたのでしょう。彼は自分より長い年季を持ちながらも、未熟で人生経験も及ばないシャノンさんとカノン君をことあるごとにいびられるのです。また、気の毒なことに、夏日奥様にも嫌われております。もちろん、年季という意味では奥様の方が長くこの家におられます。ただ、こればかりは奥様にも同情しなくてはなりません。本当に親方様も罪作りな方でございます。
Oh?
ご自身のちょっとした気まぐれが奥様にこれほどまでの劣等感をお与えになるとは、どうして思い至らなかったのでしょう。
Huh?
もちろん奥様とて内心はあの二人に辛く当たる言われは何もないことを重々承知してはおります。しかしそれが理屈で分かっているからといってどうにもならないのが人の心。
So maybe I was right after all? And they are, or the both of them are siblings and also I guess children of him?
ああ、ほいたわしや。私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
Right. That caught me off guard. Just a sudden shattering. I guess we're now going to midday. So lunchtime? I'm going to guess it's going to go to the kids' point of view now. Oh. The four of us cousins are enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, they're both girls and guys here. Plus we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively.
なんかやっと馴染んできたぜ。ジェシカもマリアも6年前からは想像もつかないくらい成長しちまったからよ。正直なところ少しだけ違和感を持ってたんだがこうして話をしているうちに中身はあの頃から何も変わってないことが分かったぜ。
同じ言葉を返してやるよ。
I feel like That's a bit of an insult to someone who was 3 at the time. Anyway.
バトラだって6年ぶりだってのに全然変わってねえぜ。図体がいくらでかくなっても中身は相変わらずお子様だってことだな。マリアもお子様。マリアもお子様。
マリアだっていつまでもお子様じゃねえぞ。お子様から可愛いお姫様に成長してくんだからな。そうしたらまな板みてえな胸もすぐジェシカ並みになるぞ。
I was not expecting that.
そしたら揉ませてくれよ。約束だぞ。
Don't agree.
揉ませる。約束する。
ダメだよ、マリアちゃん。
Is he about to get punched by Jessica?
そんな約束しちゃダメ。
おお、約束したから揉ませる。マリア、約束は守る。絶対守る。
マリア、お前本当に素直ないい子だな。お前と結婚する未来の旦那さんはきっと幸せ者だぜ。
っていい話にすり替えつつ約束を保持してんじゃねえぜ。マリア、その約束はなしなし。
約束取り消し。
やっぱりバトラ君も揃って4人で集まらないといとこが集合した気がしなかったね。
You're gonna say that after the previous comment.
この6年はやっぱり寂しかったよ。
Oh dear.
そうだな。こういうふざけた話にはならなかったな。でも建設的な話はできてたと思ったぜ。将来に対する心構えとか受験とか就職とかよ。
へっへー、悪うございましたね。俺が来たらおまぬけなドタバタばっかりでよ。
でもマリアは今年のが楽しい。
そうだね。僕も同感。今年が一番楽しいよ。
Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Anarchy stroked Maria's head, and she giggled like a happy kitten.
失礼いたします。お食事のご用意ができました。
A timid knocking sound, and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly.
シャノン、入れよ。バトラは覚えてるだろ？
Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age.
ご無沙汰いたしております。バトラ様。6年ぶりでございます。シャノンです。
Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply.
ジェシカにも驚かされたが、シャノンちゃんにも驚かされたぜ。
I don't really want to press next because I feel like I know what's coming.
あんたもすっかり美人になったじゃねえのよ。
もったいないお言葉。
Okay,
強烈に存じます。
not as bad as I was expecting.
しかしよ、
Okay.
この島じゃよっぽど食事の栄養価が高いんじゃねえのか？
No, I see where this is going as well.
何を食ってどこを鍛えたらそんなにでっかいお胸になるんだか。
And there we go.
ジェシカとどっちがでけえかちょいと触って確かめさせてもらうぜ。
With both hands poised and saliva dribbling down from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that make my left notes itch until I scratch my neck open, which can only be prevented by funneling breaths. That definitely sounds like a Higurashi reference, at least partially. This is just a battler-style method of communication. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? So I can use this battle as some original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Whoa. It also means I really do get to touch my own about 1 in 10 chance though, right? Yeah. Like how did it ever happen? At that point, my hands are less than a centimetre away from Shannon-chan's boobs, but the counter-strike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realised what was going on, but she just stood there with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please, hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... There we go. Just how I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head.
あいたジェシカ、ありがとうよ。
なんで私が感謝されんだ？お？
いやいや、すまんぜシャノンちゃん。魅力的な胸に思わず吸着されそうになっちまった。つうか、さすがにあの間合いまで来たら犯罪確定だろ。ダメだぜ、抵抗しなきゃよ。
ですけど、バトラ様は大切なお客様ですし。
あのな、お客様でも犯罪は犯罪。女の子の胸はだいたい10センチくらいからが防空識別圏だな。2センチ圏まで侵入してきたら、これはもう領空侵犯だぜ。スクランブル発進で即ビンタを食らわせてやれ。
そんなことできません。私たちは家具ですし。
Of course she didn't want her breast touch, but if the guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. A girl like this needs some urgent protection.
今時こんな献身美徳な子がいるとは。軽いめまいすら覚えるぜ。でもダメだ。ダメなんだ。俺がいやらしい顔で迫る。ハッタウス。いやエッチ。そういうお約束じゃないとオチがつかねえんだよ。頼むよ、お願いでよ。俺を引っ叩いてくれよ。こうバチンとバチンと。
お願いは聞けません。家具ですから。でも命令ならお聞きします。それが務めですから。
じゃあ命令させてもらうことにするよ。次からバトラ君が胸に触ろうとしてきたら平手打ちで反撃すること。いいね。
はい、仰せつかりました。以後そのようにさせていただきます。バトラ様、ご承知おきくださいませ。
Shannon-chan announced herself bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that.
6年前はお手伝いさんの連れ子がついでにお手伝いみたいな印象だったんだけど、すっかり一人前の使用人さんだな。今年で何年になるんだ？
はい、おかげさまで10年ほどお使いさせていただいております。
She's Shannon, I'm guessing. Kanji for a name or read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Yeah, okay, so she is also related to them, and named by... has a naming sense. Thinking about it now, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If that's so, that might explain why her name's so similar to Kannon-kun, that kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. Well, those two are probably siblings? She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Okay. So remember that whole starting point where I was like, yes, well, she probably started when she was 16 and it's been at least 6 years, so she's probably like 22 now, right? Yeah, no, I was wrong. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories. But we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age. Especially in her breasts. Yes.
さっき会ったカノ君は彼女の弟なんだよ。
Okay, so he is her little brother.
弟というわけでは。
Half brother?
でも、私のことを姉と慕ってくれます。
Maybe?
何か失礼なことはしませんでしたか？
相変わらずいつも通りだぜ。もうちょっと愛想よくすればいいのによ。もったいないよ。
カノン君がご迷惑をおかけしたようで申し訳ございません。
別に迷惑なんか何も。同じ男としてわかるさ。ありゃ気難しい年頃だ。愛想が悪いのは当たり前だぜ。
マリアもよく言われる。愛想悪いって言われる。
You're so happy about
カノン
it.
と一緒。マリア様は愛想悪くなんかありません。一緒が良かった。
食事の準備ができたんだっけ？
はい。失礼いたしました。お食事のご用意が整いましたので、皆様をお屋敷へご案内いたします。
Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. He realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further.
じゃあ、お屋敷に行こうか。みんなもお腹が空いてたところでしょ？
だな。ゴーダさんがいる時の飯は楽しみなんだよ。あの人、どこぞの有名ホテルでシェフをやってたらしくて、かなり料理の腕があるんだぜ。
ほうほう。それ楽しみ。行こうぜマリア。ガツガツ犬みたいに食い散らかすぞ。
Let me guess, it's gonna be like pigs, like pigs.
犬みたいに食い散らかす。
Not quite.
ダメダメ。バトラ君の言うことはいちいち真に受けちゃダメだよ。全部冗談なんだから。さあ、行こう行こう。
Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Met once again by the magnificent rose garden, we continued onward, as the intimidating mansion of the Shiromiya head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost a half-century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, what with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of Kotatsu? As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him, I remembered. Genji-san, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant.
バトラ様、お久しゅうございます。
As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Gordon's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feelings very well.
ゲンジさん、本当にお久しぶりっす。 お元気そうですね。
おかげさまで健やかに過ごさせていただいております。バトラ様こそご立派になられました。
I'm afraid appearances can be deceiving.
親方様の若き日に少し似てこられましたな。
俺がじい様にってことは、さぞやじい様は若い頃モテたろうな。
ここからはシャノンに代わって私がご案内申し上げます。どうぞこちらへ。
Shannon bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji-san was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. You might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was by grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when this mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half of his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion, with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory of 6 years ago. Oh. That was odd. Uh-huh. A painting. It was an awfully big portrait hanging right in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor, and a plaque, and curtains. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back.
ああ、悪い。なあ、ジェシカ。あんな絵、前はあったっけ？
I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too.
ああ、そっか。バトラが来てた頃には、あれはかけられてなかったっけ？
She seems hesitant to talk about it from that expression.
いつからだったかな。
確か、僕の記憶が正しければ、一昨年あたりだったと思うよ。
Year before last, so 2 years ago, has been mentioned a few times recently.
さようでございます。
That was when the guest house was built, wasn't it? And when I think it's Gendo or Goda started serving.
一昨年の4月に、親方様がかねてより画家に命じて描かせていたものをあそこに展示なされたのでございます。
あのじい様がね、わざわざ描かせてか。
The portrait suited this Western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed middle-aged woman you often see in famous pictures. If she'd had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all.
んで、誰だい？このご婦人はよ。
Maria answered that question, simple question enthusiastically. I was very proud she knew the answer.
マリア知ってる。ベアトリーチェ。
ベア、なんだって？
Beatrice.
ベアトリーチェ。魔女だよ。バトラ君は昔聞かされたことない？
And so, before we get into all the stories about witches and all, I will be ending it here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Before we go, I will go through the new character profiles we have. Shannon, a young but experienced servant. She's normally calm and performs her job efficiently, but she messes up when she gets nervous. Furthermore, Shannon is nothing more than a pseudonym that she uses when on duty, not her real name. Okay. Oh, and she does have the symbol thing. Servant Genji, the leader of the servants who work for the Ushiromiya family. He has served Kinzo longer than any of them, and is the person most trusted by that old man. Since he serves Kinzo directly, Kraus and Natsuhi think of him as being a spy for Kinzo. So Kraus and Natsuhi being Jessica's parents. Why are they wary of a spy for Kinzo, which will be the head of the family? And I'm going to guess that this one is going to be Beatrice. Yes, this is also says that it's a pseudonym. So talks about the on character and their pseudonyms. Canon, Shannon. There are multiple other servants. He and Shannon just happen to be the ones on duty at that day. I guess there's others that aren't on the island, maybe. Okay, in any case, I will end it there for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.